In high-level engagements, human sensory feedback is a dangerous lagging indicator that will ultimately get you knocked out cold. When an exchange triggers a heavy neurological response, the blinding flash of a clean shot shatters your cognitive timeline. The sudden roar of the crowd or internal alarms of compromised positions forces your brain into an endless processing loop. Most fighters try to manage this sudden panic through sheer willpower or breathing exercises, creating a secondary internal distraction. To survive and dominate under these high-intensity exchanges, you must learn to silence your sensory feedback loop entirely now. Transform incoming kinetic and visual data from an emotional threat directly into cold, highly precise and transactional telemetry. The mechanics of sensory silence rely entirely on shifting your neurological processing completely. Away from the complex cerebral cortex, move the processing load down to the basal ganglia and brainstem, which naturally handle instantaneous and automated combat execution. When a heavy strike lands or a scramble begins, your nervous system is immediately flooded with chaotic afferent signals. Pain receptors fire wildly, while vestibular disruptions from rapid head movement destroy your tracking and split-second visual clarity. If you are actively feeling the fight as it happens, you are operating dangerously behind the true timeline. The strategic reasoning here is simple. You cannot react to what happens. You must execute completely through what happens. Most fighters completely misunderstand this concept as mere desensitization or toughness, believing they just need to take more damage. That is a critical, devastating error that leads directly to early neurological decline and permanently broken defensive structures. It is not about feeling less through stubbornness. It is about automating your structural counters, so, completely and cleanly. Ensure the overwhelming sensory input never actually reaches your conscious awareness until the entire violent sequence is fully over. When your structure is mechanically sound and your responses are hardwired to specific tactile and visual triggers, everything changes. An opponent's incoming strike does not register as pain or danger. It registers merely as a directional force vector. This kinetic input satisfies a precise condition that instantly triggers your next highly destructive and accurate counterattack sequence. You must treat your body like an automated kinetic system, where every impact received is a closed electric circuit. This closed circuit instantly fires your pre-programmed output directly into the target without any cognitive delay or hesitation. To apply this in live engagement, consider a standard exchange where an opponent attempts to overwhelm your defensive guard. They march forward, throwing a high-volume combination, attempting to blind your vision with a heavy, looping lid hook. Your natural human instinct will be to brace, blink, and pull your weight onto your vulnerable back foot. This is exactly where sensory overload destroys your positioning. Instead, you must deliberately drop your center of gravity. Sink 3 inches into your hips, shifting 60% of your weight onto your lead leg to anchor structure. As the shot impacts your guard or shoulder, do not absorb it. Use that energy to chamber your hip. The impact itself becomes the physical trigger to release your straight rear hand right down the central attacking pipeline. If the opponent follows with a rear cross, your head must already move off center line at 45 degrees. Transfer weight seamlessly from front foot to back foot by rotating your torso smoothly along its solid vertical axis. Maintain a tight, compressed frame where elbows constantly touch your ribs and chin is pinned to your collarbone. This tight positioning completely eliminates the dangerous microspaces that cause rattling, concussive shock inside the human skull. When a shot hits a loose frame, the head snaps, eyes blink, and the sensory loop takes over completely. When a shot hits a structurally integrated frame, force distributes down your spine directly into the hard floor. This ground distribution leaves your vision perfectly clear and your internal cognitive processing completely undisturbed during heavy exchanges. The primary failure point here is the natural tendency to reach for shots or look away from danger. You must keep your eyes locked on the center chest, treating their fast limbs as mere peripheral blurs. Keep your hands moving inside their punching lanes, parrying and countering entirely by feel rather than by sight. Here is where most people stop, but you must master the suppression of vestibular and spatial disorientation entirely. During high-speed rotational scrambles, An elite opponent will rarely give you a clean, predictable and linear target line. They will clip you, change levels rapidly, or wrestle, forcing your head through multiple confusing planes of motion. The advanced tactic requires deliberate anchors of tactile tracking to maintain structural awareness throughout the entire chaotic exchange. Use your lead hand or shoulder to establish a permanent physical connection with the opponent's frame during chaos. If you are clipped and spinning out, or forced down into grappling transitions, do not rely on vision. Your eyes will lie to you under high acceleration. Instead, use the precise point of physical contact instead. Whether it is your forearm on their bicep or forehead in their sternum, use it as your compass. By grounding spatial awareness in a single unyielding point of contact, you effectively bypass the inner ear's panic. This allows you to execute blind throws, precise recounters, and level changes when vision is completely obscured by fluid. Integrating this level of sensory silencing into your operational skill set requires a highly specific, progressive training methodology. This elite neurological state cannot be achieved through traditional, unstructured sparring matches that lack specific, tactical isolation goals. You must begin with isolation. Pressure drills designed to overload specific senses until the brain filters out noise. Start with blind tactile sparring, where both you and your partner begin with a tight collar tie or wrist grip. With eyes closed, your partner initiates varied attacks at half speed, forcing you to defend solely on kinetic feedback. This forces your nervous system to map the opponent's skeletal alignment perfectly without relying on any visual tracking. This methodology builds the deep neural pathways required for automated structural defense during high-intensity chaotic ring exchanges. To transition into high-intensity retention, you must immediately progress to highly restrictive and difficult spatial restriction drills. Position your back against a wall, allowing your partner to throw high-volume combinations with large protective boxing gloves. Your only objective is to maintain an integrated frame, absorbing shots while staring directly through punches at chest. You are training the brain to categorize incoming strikes not as dangerous events, but as ambient environment data. Test this under maximum pressure by introducing asymmetrical chaos elements, like unpredictable audio commands or sudden shoves from behind. This forces your cognitive mind elsewhere while your subconscious fight structure handles high-intensity threats without leaking any kinetic energy. If your eyes blink or posture breaks, return to the beginning, analyze the frame, and rebuild the sequences permanently.